In today's episode of Manabonded, Zack gets out of a speeding ticket.
You have the backup of Punch Face.
Josh finds his lost king-size Kit Kat. The prodigal son has returned to me. Nate plans on how to handle the rodent wars in his backyard.
Throw those squirrels at enemy creatures.
Hello and welcome to Manabonded, the only podcast where we force our friends to listen to Epic the Musical while driving to a tournament 6 hours away. My name is Josh and I'm joined by my two co-hosts, Nate and Zach. Say hey guys.
Hey guys. Oh, I'm sleepy.
Howdy, howdy.
Yeah, we had a bit.
I'm also very sleepy.
Had a bit of a long weekend there, didn't we?
Indeed we did.
And to be fair,
Indeed,
the drive was 4 hours and then another 2. You stopped partway through for the night, so it wasn't like a constant.
Luckily.
Yeah, it wasn't a straight 6-hour drive. For those of you unaware, we just did Salt City 3 this last week. It was a CEDH tournament down at Riftgate Games in Provo, Utah. Yeah, 3 of us played. We had a lot of fun. Nate and Zach, and then our friends, Nate and Garrett, drove down to my place, stayed with me, and then we drove another 2 hours the next day to the tournament. It was a long weekend, I think we can all say. It was a little rough. So, how you guys feeling?
I am very tired. I probably should have just called out of work today, but I figured since I'm working from home, I can just do it. It's fine. My job's not the hardest thing in the world, so I'll just get through it.
Yeah, that's fair. Zach, you recovering okay?
Yeah, I'm hanging in there. I'm surviving. A lot of driving, but overall it went pretty quick.
I know, poor Zach is the chauffeur for the weekend.
It was a great... I was indeed. Nothing wrong with that, though. I mean, we had like 3 people squished in the back of my Prius, so you guys had to struggle a little bit more than I did.
Yes, I did.
Oh, only for the couple hours we went to the tournament back. The rest of the drive was fine. We only had 2 in the back coming home or getting there.
Traveling tournament weekends are quite tiring, but they're a lot of fun.
Yeah.
A ton of fun.
Nothing set in stone yet, but we're talking that if we do another tournament down in that area, we're renting a van. we're not gonna squish into a car meant for 4 adults.
Yeah,
the AC and gas mileage
3
was
children.
quite nice, though.
Yes.
Yeah, you can put 3 kids in the back. That's fine. And I may be as tall as a kid, but I'm definitely wider than the average kid, so it didn't work out too well.
Yeah.
Yeah, like we literally made it from your house to just outside of Boise on 1 tank of gas. So
yeah, Prius is rock.
Quite nice. And then fill it up like $45, which with the gas prices right now is pretty good.
Not too bad.
Yeah. Especially because I get the 91 gas or whatever. It's a little bit more.
He gets the spendy gas. Yeah, for me, I get regular gas, and it would have been more than 1 fill up at about $80 for a fill up. It would have been spacious, but a lot more spendy and no AC.
Yeah.
So
we'll have to see if there's any Enterprise Rentals that's got like a hybrid Chrysler van or something.
Right.
Maybe. We'll see. We'll see.
Anyway, before we get into the meat of the episode for today, are there any like highlights from the weekend that you want to talk about not related to the tournament?
I mean, there is the namesake for the intro to the episode. Our buddy Garrett, who came down with us, had never listened to Epic the Musical. So the 3 of us, the other 3, Nate, Zach, and I decided to go, well, you're listening to it now. And so we listened to Epic the Musical while explaining to him what the Odyssey was as they were going through it, because he did not really know the story of the Odyssey either.
It's funny.
He had like a general idea, but yeah, we definitely gave him more info than he needed.
That's so funny. And he liked it, right? Like he was listening to it and he was enjoying it.
Yeah.
I mean, what kind of human wouldn't, right?
Yeah,
I mean...
that's a good point.
The music is indeed epic.
Yeah.
Truly it is.
It's some good stuff.
I think he enjoyed it. He like kept telling us he's thinking of a movie in his head, like as the songs are going and like visualizing a little movie. I'm like, oh yeah. And if you watch the animatics, it's very much similar to a movie in a way. And then they're also making a movie,
Yeah.
or animated movie.
Yeah.
Which will be great.
He's now hyped for that.
No, the animated movie sounds really cool. I'm excited for it, and also, I'm excited to see what they do with it.
Yeah, very excited. It was really cool at Salt City 3. Quite a few people that I didn't think would remembered me, so that was cool to see. Or they were like, oh yeah, you play like Kinnan. I remember seeing you in Boise. So shout out to Evil Xander, which I should have done a short form content with him, and I completely forgot.
No.
But here we are.
We'll get you next time.
Yeah, he's got some spicy decks. Like he plays 5-color Omnath and Atraxa. So he's a fun one to play against.
Was he the one on Lonus?
No, that was a local Boise.
That was one of the Boise guys
that came down.
That went down there too.
Yeah, I don't remember their name, but yes, he always wears the ramen suit. That's what I thought it was. I thought it was just
the ramen suit.
He always wears the ramen suit.
He does always wear the ramen suit.
He's been on Lonus for a long time. When I did my first CEDH tournament, when I played Lavinia back in like 2022, he was on Lonus, and he's just been building it and iterating it. And I mean, he did pretty well. I think he had 2 wins over the weekend, which is really good.
I think he was in top 16. I think he got top 16.
No, he was 18th. I remember that. He was just shy of top 16.
Yeah, no, I saw Junior and another local Boise person named Andy, who is a big part of the old school community up here in Boise, which they're currently putting on a old school event in July. So if anybody out there listening for some reason is a huge old school player, please look at that event or reach out and I can get you some info.
Yeah.
But no, I didn't expect to see either of them down there. But that was kind of a cool surprise of being like, oh, hey, some Boise locals that I know and have played with quite a bit and talked to quite a bit. So it was cool to see them, not knowing that they were going to be there. So
yeah, that is really cool. Anyway, yeah, it was really fun. I'd say highlight for me, I always love going to getting to hang out and do it. That draft was really fun.
Yeah.
Even if I did get absolutely destroyed, that draft was fun.
That was no fault of your own.
No.
It was me not having a land.
No, I did feel like my one ally against Nate wasn't really doing much in the way of early game removal.
Whoa.
So, for the listeners who don't really know what's going on with talking about the draft, we did a Strixhaven draft night, which is a little awkward with 5 people. So what we did was we got 3 extra packs, and then we did a star draft where we got our roll and we knew what color we were going to be, but nobody else knew when we were drafting. And then afterwards, we played star. And
which I think worked out pretty well.
It was pretty fun. I got lucky and got one of my late game beaters. It's the orc guy that has Opus put a +1/+1 counter on him, and then I got the spell that you put a +1/+1 counter on target creature and give it either lifelink or double strike until end of turn, and has flashback to. So I just played it, gave it to the orc. He gets 2 counters, gets trample or gets double strike. Play it again. He gets lifelink and 2 more counters. So it ended up being a 10/10 double strike, lifelink, trample. Yeah. And Josh was gunning for me. So I'm like, all right, well, let's get rid of Josh first.
And get rid of me, you did. I got really lucky. Early on, I saw a decent uncommon for a Witherbloom deck. And I was like, I'll try Witherbloom. I'll see how it goes. And as the draft continued, sort of into pack 2, I started to realize that nobody else wanted any of the Witherbloom cards, apparently. And they just kept coming my way. And then I just kept getting more Witherbloom cards, get to pack 3. And that's when I'm I start mentioning that I'm getting exactly what I need. They clock that I'm on black-green. And then we go around the table and we realize, oh, we've all just accidentally each drafted exactly one of the different schools.
I mean,
it worked out pretty cool.
When I opened the monument thing for Lorehold, I saw that thing do so much work at pre-release. I'm like, yeah, I'm just going to take this first and see where it goes. And it just worked out that I say, let's stick to red-white.
we all just kind of picked a color pair and in our heads and just stuck with it, and it was all the color pairs that like nobody else wanted. So I did a pretty good Witherbloom deck. I had a lot of like life gain triggers and a lot of other cool stuff that nobody got to see because I got knocked out super early by that attack. But I had some really cool stuff. I had I don't know what you call it, but the full art Decorum Dissertation, the Black Paradigm spell. I had the Sign in Blood Prepared creature. I had 2 of the green-black sort of, whenever another creature enters, gain a life cards. I had 2 Teacher's Pests. I had a really strong deck, I think, and it just crapped out on me. because Nate just alpha striked me into the dirt.
Yeah,
quite literally alpha striked you.
Let me send you from like 24 down to 4.
Yeah, I know. I was at like 26 and you sent 24. Me to 4, and you gained all that life. Yeah, I was cooked after that. But no, it was a really fun draft. After that, we opened the collector pack that it came with, and we all just kind of drafted one card out of it that we wanted to keep. I snagged a foil flow state for my next CEDH deck, which we'll talk about a little later.
Yeah.
No crazy hits out of the collector booster, but Muddle was kind of cool to see.
No, the rest of the
alternate commander,
the draft packs were better, honestly.
Yeah.
Like we got
some decent.
We got cool 2 things. Emeritus, 1 green, 1 blue.
Yep.
We got a full art Witherbloom,
and then a foil black,
and then the Black Paradigm and foil. Yeah,
Paradigm. Well, black foil alt art 1. I don't know what they're calling it. That one. I don't know if that's still field notes.
Field notes. Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah. Bam. Got that. That was open in the thing too.
But yeah, I really liked the draft kit. I think it was a very easy, accessible way to do a draft night.
No, it was really nice. It came with the exact right cool amount of lands too. Like, and even for 5 people, we didn't really have to go grab extra lands. We had enough for the 4 of us that if we hadn't really pulled anything, we would have just grabbed the lands, played unsleeved, and went for it, right? But a couple of us had cards we wanted to protect, so we sleeved up a couple of them. But no, it was actually, I'm actually really impressed with the Draft Night kit. It worked out much better than I thought it was going to. Just hearing about the product, and I hadn't ever interacted with one before, so that was a lot of fun.
I'm definitely going to be looking to get my hands on a couple of the Hobbit ones. I want to get one to crack and play at another time when we meet up, and then one just to sit on for a while, do at a later date.
Yeah, it's definitely not a bad thing. If you find a good deal on any of the draft kits, pick one up and just sit on it and wait for some friends to come hang out. They're a ton of fun.
And the fact that it's designed for 4 people makes it pretty great for doing with just some buddies that you can hang out with. Because 8 can be hard. 4 is usually pretty doable.
Yeah, let's all be real. Yeah. As an adult, the reality of trying to get 7 other people over in person for like 4 hours, or it would take to do the draft and all the games, that's nearly impossible. So it's just 3 people, y'all show up, you draft it, you have a good time. Super cool. And a collector pack for the winner.
Everything you need, so.
All right, well, this episode's going to be a little different. I'm afraid that we are not giving any advice unless you learn from our mistakes. Because what we want to do, we want to share with you guys and talk about our tournament, how it went, our rounds, and how we felt we did, and our thoughts kind of leaving it and possibly going into more tournaments in the future. So we're going to go through, we're each going to talk about our round ones. At the end, we'll talk about how we did and how we feel. So, Zach, you want to start? How was your round 1?
Round 1 feels like it was so long ago.
I know, this is why I took notes.
Let me think. Okay, yeah. Round 1, there was a Rao player. I cannot remember the other decks. Skip me.
Nate, do you remember your
cut
round 1 better?
Cut this.
Yeah, I can go first. So in my game 1, I had a Silver Quill deck that was the new Silver Quill with the Casualty 1.
Yep.
There was a guy that was on a Kennen list, and then a guy on Rog Ishai. And man, oh man, I know we have talked about yapping for CDH and table talk and stuff. I was not prepared for as much yapping as can go on at these things. because almost right off the bat, the people start going, they're like, hey, I can deal with that. Or if you try and deal with this, I got a way to deal with that. It's like, oh, will you show me? And like, yeah, sure. And then they're handing cards across the table talking about stuff. And one guy's like, hey, I want to resolve this. You gonna let me resolve this? I got nothing. He's like, you gonna let me see your whole hand? Sure. And he just shows him his entire hand.
Crazy.
And it's just, yeah, there's so much yapping go along. Rog Ishai ended up getting Smythe to resolve because they're like, I'll only use half the treasures that I get off of this.
That's such a wild deal to make, too.
It is an absolute wild deal. And then at one point I tried to blow up their Smythe. And obviously, after drawing like a bunch of cards, because they had both Ristic and Smothering Tithe in play, after drawing a bunch of cards, they had an answer. But I didn't get backed up at all by by Kenny.
Yeah.
So I'm like sitting here. I'm like, well, if we don't want Rogashai to win, we kind of need to not let him keep Smothering Tithe, because he's going to try and copy that later and then kill us with either something like what's the Fairy Mastermind, something
true.
like that. It's a pretty good way to win. Funnily enough, though, a Silver Quill ended up winning because we ended up getting rid of Rogashai really late in the game. They ended up, I don't remember what they ended up doing exactly. I think they might have stolen. They played something that they played Bergie on the backside because they're like, I got so many cards in my hand and I need to dig for an answer.
Strong. Yeah.
Yeah. They went for that and then they got nowhere. Their life total was really low because they just been getting poked down by the Nib Mizzets, because both the guy playing Silver Quill had stole the original Nib Mizzet, and then the guy playing Kenrith got a Phyrexian Metamorph out and copied Nib Mizzet. So yeah, it was wild. I had basically no chance after about turn 3 to win that game, with like a bunch of Nib Mizzets in play, and how freely people were letting other people draw cards. I was very excited, though, that at the end of the game, the Silver Quill player was able to go and dig for a thing and win. Because I had Consultation in my hand, and I had a Wishclaw Talisman, so I'm like, I'm going to go for it. And if I get stopped, well, it means Silver Quill's probably going to win, but this is my only real hope for trying to win. So I got stopped, and Silver Quill won.
Yeah.
But it was pretty cool to see a black-white deck do so much in the game, where we have 2 decks that are basically just good soup.
Yeah.
Definitely agree. I think it's cool seeing those little more fringe decks of like
Yeah.
Silver Quill. Like, it's really good ability, but like, can it be
Yeah.
broken enough to be CDH viable?
Yeah.
Right. We did get reconfirmed with a judge there that do not sack Silver Quill to the casualty. If you do, you do not get the copy of the spell, because the casualty ability resolves when the spell actually starts resolving. And since Silver Quill is no longer there to give it that static ability, it doesn't have it anymore. It was kind of like Zinnia. Yeah. So, well, you still sacked him. You still can do this other thing. But he was going to sack it so that way he could get an extra Imp's Mischief or something like that. So he could do some more shenanigans. And he was trying to dodge the Nib Mizzet stuff. So, yeah, we learned that in that game.
Yeah.
But it is actually pretty solid for having the casualty, because he's like, I'm going to cast this thing that lets me draw. I'm going to cast a Village Rites, sack 2 pests that I get from my Sedgemoor Witch, and then go ahead and draw 4 cards off of it.
That seems pretty good.
Pretty good.
Yeah. A less good with Smothering Tithe in play.
Yeah, not very good.
But still.
Zach, did you remember your round one?
Round one. What a round. So I was first seat playing my Kitten deck, and then second seat was a Tivit Tyler, I think is what his name. He's been on Tivit for a while, and he's pretty big in the Utah community. And then we had a Rao player from the Rexburg group, and then a Rog Thras player. And so I was in a pretty good spot for most of the game. I had a Ristic study out and was doing okay. The Rog Thras player had a Candelabra mental misstep, so that was really nice.
You'll have to see it.
Don't worry about that. And then he also was able to steal the Rao player's Rao by using a Stormdrake. the energy drake. And then he also later on stole Tivit as well while paying the word cost with a gilded drake. So
That's
Jeez.
crazy.
that was kind of fun. But we got to a point where the Rogthras player played a card. I don't recognize the card or remember the card, but like when he played it, everyone can vote to destroy an artifact or enchantment. But it's not voting, but it's they choose an artifact or enchantment.
Yeah.
It's not his.
Druid of
Will of the
Purification.
Council. No,
That sounds right. That sounds something like that.
It's a green
is
creature,
it one
right?
and double white?
Yeah, it's a green creature.
Okay.
But like everybody all the opponents gotta pick an artifact or an enchantment to destroy, and then it couldn't be anything that he owned.
Yeah. It's a strong, even
a
strong casual card. It's really cool.
Yeah, so obviously my Ristic Study was chosen, and then the Tivit's Esper Sentinel was chosen, and then also another thing that the Tivit had. But the Ral player had a Ristic Study as well. Nobody targeted it because he didn't have Ral, and he had already had no cards in hand. But in hindsight, it probably would have been a good idea because he did end up winning the game without Ral.
That's
You
funny.
don't need Ral.
That's
he
just Ral.
helps.
He just helps a lot. But so basically, we did a huge stack battle, trying to stop the Ral player, even though he didn't have Ral, because he was trying to bounce Ral back to get Ral going. But before the Ral turn that he ultimately did end up winning on, the Tivit player did do an upkeep silence, and just tried to hard force a Thoracle Demonic Consultation play. But we were able to, because we told him that I was like, you don't have to go for it, but I get it. You're out of this game without Tivit and you don't have a draw engine. I get that you're just going to send it, but then Ral, I can't stop anyone else. And he didn't think we had more interaction than we did because I had 4 cards and I had drawn 3 counter spells. So I was like, I could have just shown him, been like, here, don't do it, please.
Yeah.
But ultimately, Ral's a crazy deck, does crazy things.
It really is.
We lost to a Storm of Memories, the Avatar Jumpstart card.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
That was pretty cool to watch.
We'll put a pin in the Ral
Game,
conversation and we'll come back to it because I want to talk about Ral when we're done. My round 1, so I was seat 4. The pod was Rog Ishai, Kinnan, Itali, and Tyam. So I kept a hand with a turn 3 Tyam with some development early on. A little slower than I like, for sure. Turn 2 comes around, I've got some creatures in play, and so on the turn 2, Rog Ishai puts down his Ristic Study. We're like, yep, saw that coming, that's the deck's whole plan. Goes around to my turn, I'm holding a Boseiju, and I'm also holding Patrol Signaler. And I'm like, do I develop Signaler or kill Ristic? And I made the dumb move and I developed my own Signaler. I put it out in play and I was like, it'll be fine.
Yeah.
And what I was not ready for was on Rog Ishai's very next turn, they cast a Flash Photography on their own Ristic. So if I'd had the Boseiju, I could have wasted that spell and time walked him effectively, blowing up his Ristic and making him lose the Flash Photography, which would have been really nice. But instead, I was a dum-dum, didn't keep up for removal. So I regretted that. The game continued going, though, because Rog Ishai was only drawing a little bit of gas and mostly just mana pieces. Kinnan was only drawing some mana pieces. No, he wasn't even drawing mana. He had had Kinnan out at some point. We'd killed it twice. He was just out of the game. Just so far out of the game. And Itali wasn't even a player in this one because Itali kept a turn 3 Itali that, with 2 Ristics on board, flipped into 4 pieces of mana. And so the Itali player just had to choose to not cast the spells because otherwise he's handing Rog Ishai 8 cards. And that's just... He was like, I cannot do that. He cast a Felwar Stone of his own so he could play something next turn. But yeah, he was out of the game. He was so far out of the game, in fact, that, and I should have called him out on this. This is more things that I need to learn about, tournament etiquette and rules and things like that. He actually just got on his phone and started scrolling social media, Instagram and Facebook and stuff. I should have been more bold and called him out on it because it is just fully illegal to be on your phone for anything other than the companion app Life Tracker in any game. And the fact that he was scrolling social media, clearly he wasn't going for any advantage, but like he was just checked out. I should have, been more bold and be like, hey man, come back to the game. We're still in it. We're still playing. Because the game went to time, and then it went to my turn, and I was like, I have to push here. And they spent probably 15 of the final 20 minutes talking about how to stop me. It included a lot of my favorite phrase, which was, what about this? Oh, he doesn't cast spells. Crap. Which is one of my favorite parts about playing Time, is once I've developed, you can't cast spells to stop me. You need a bounce spell, or you need a trigger counter. I started pulling resources. I probably put 7 activations through that turn. And then finally they managed to... I think I had to cast like 1 or 2 spells in the middle of that. I was able to pay for some of the Ristic, but not all. And so he ended up drawing a bounce spell. At one point, he cast a bounce spell targeting Tyam. I put, they had bounced an Aven Interrupter previously. So they try to bounce Tyam. I try to flash an Aven Interrupter. The Rogish I cast Subtlety. I let the Subtlety resolve, put the Aven Interrupter back on top of my deck, and then put another activation on the stack, so the Aven Interrupter came down. But all of that, it still wasn't enough. 18 minutes on the clock. They've dismantled me enough. I put my hand down and I say, well, let's call it a draw. And they said, yep, let's call it a draw. So my first round ended a draw. I went to absolute time. It was very close, but it was one of those games where I could clearly see having made a different decision would have drastically altered the game. And so it's a lesson I need to learn. See Ristic, hold up to kill Ristic.
Ristic bad. Don't let him.
I'm still not convinced if I should have killed the Ristic on my turn immediately, like at sorcery speed while he was tapped out, or if I should have waited until his turn with the flash photography to hit it. Because I don't know. I'm still.
You didn't know that the flash photography would have happened, so it's hindsight 2020 kind of thing.
Yeah.
Also, channel is really hard to interact with.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think I would have been safe to hit it while it was trying to be copied. And so it would have fizzled the copy and done a lot of damage. But I don't know if the Kinnan then would have gone away with it. But I feel like if I had destroyed the Ristics, then the Mystic Remora from the Kinnan probably wouldn't have lasted as long either. And the game would have gone longer, and I would have been in a better chance. Because I only pushed there because I felt like I was running out of time. And I'm like, I need to push. I need to do something. And so if I'd waited a little longer, had a bit more patience, or if I'd killed the Ristic when I wanted to, I would have been fine. I think we would have had enough time. Tyam could have done something.
Yeah.
But you live and learn, and we move on to round 2. What do you guys remember about your round 2? Let's start with Zack this time. Do you remember round 2?
Oh, Lord, I remember round 2.
What's your pod?
Round 2. We're having a pod of me on Kinnan, and then we have a Kenrith, and then the Tymna Thrasio, so TNT, and then the final deck was a VV deck. So basically pretty standard starts, nothing too crazy. The Kenrith player tried to do kept a hand that was like a turn 2 Ristic if he drew a land. Didn't end up drawing lands. But he did have a Ragavan, so he eventually did get there to play his Ristic study, which then was commandeered by the Tymna Thrasios player.
No.
And so Kenrith was like, I'm done. I am not in this game anymore. It is what it is.
That's brutal.
Here we are. And then, of course, the TNT player plays another clone spell, so he has 2 Ristic studies. Super fun there. And then the VV player eventually goes for a push to do intuition to get 3 different curiosity effects.
Wow.
And choosing me to pick, I had a mental misstep in my hand, so I gave him the curiosity specifically.
Right.
And then just mental misstepped it. But I'm like, hey, if you push right now, like this player over here has 2 Ristic studies, and he's going to be drawing so many cards. I know I have a Ristic study, you have a Ristic study, but like at the same time, he's going to be getting a ton of cards if you try to go through this.
Yeah, it's like maybe we don't push.
This is my only way to do it. This is my only way I can try to win right now. And I'm like, understandable. And so he went for it. I ultimately stopped him. And then the TNT player had a whole bunch of cards as expected. And they were like, I promise I won't win on my turn. Classic CDH phrase of I will win on my next upkeep, actually, instead. Which technically he did not, but it's all good. It was the stack war at the end of the game was absolutely absurd because the Kenrith player had gotten his Rhystic Study back. So the TNT player had a Smothering Tithe, 2 Rhystics, and a Thrasios out. And then he was trying to do like get Kinnan out and going. So like we were all teamed up trying to do the draw. So we're just casting anything we could physically possibly cast to draw everyone cards, and just like he was getting 2 cards for all of our cards, but at the same time, that's all we can do is just try to find answers of some level.
Yeah.
But ultimately, the TNT player was able to push through our probably like a foot-long stack on the table.
Yeah, I walked over in the middle of this game,
That
and
stack was
people
wild.
had been, establishing a stack kind of in between all the...
We were trying
in the middle of all the mats. And so you put a card down, and then somebody put something on top of it, put something on top of it. It was at least 2 feet long of cards stacked on top of each other, spread across to the side. Just this long stack battle going on. And I look over after my round 2, and I'm just like, that looks miserable.
That's why you play blue, baby. That's why you play blue.
Yep.
But no, yeah, he eventually was able to let us run out of gas. I had a Cabbage Merchant, which I think was very good this weekend. That card did a lot of work this weekend for me.
Yeah.
But I had a Cabbage Man, and so like I was just consistently like making food tokens and trying to like continuously draw answers to make mana. So I was like very limited on my mana, but just consistently getting more foods to be able to interact and activate and cast spells was very nice. So, but shout out to Kyle, the TNT player. He occasionally will come up to Boise as well and participate in tournaments, and so shout out to him. He's a ton of fun to play with and a really cool guy, but like his brain is much bigger than mine because that stack battle would have been my brain would have just exploded and I'd call it a day. So
Yeah, stack battles can get intense.
Yeah, they can get crazy. So that was a fun round. Very fun.
Yeah, it's always fun when you feel like you're doing something right instead of being just turned off turn 1. Anyway, my round 2, guess how that went. It was, I was 4th seat again. I kept a turn 2 Tyam hand, which I felt good about. Because a lot of what I iterated with this deck list before the tournament was I really wanted to push for a faster Tyam activation. Try to push for as often as I can a turn 2 Tyam with a turn 3 activation, just as soon as possible. So that's really what I focused on. In this game, I was able to pull that off. I was able to get out Tyam turn 2. And then in first seat was Iron Man from the Secret Lair. Seat 2 was Sisay. Seat 3 was Aang, the Bant clone Aang. And then again, I was seat 4. This Iron Man's turn 3, he puts down a Grafdigger's Cage. And it's all over for me. That Grafdigger's Cage shut down Sisay, me, and Aang. This sucks. It goes to my turn. I don't have much. I was able to like put a couple things into play. And then I held up some mana because I was holding on to an opposition agent. It goes to the Iron Man player's turn, and I put the opposition agent into play. They knew I had it, so he like didn't walk into it like he could have. Like I think I had tutored for it specifically because I was up against Sisay and Iron Man, and I was like, I need something against these two because if I'm locked down, I need everybody to be locked down until I can break out of it. So I locked down
that makes sense.
The Iron Man for a bit, and then we just kind of hit a weird stalemate for a while where we weren't doing much. But the Iron Man player was able to keep attacking, creating treasures, and using an esoteric duplicator, which is from the big score Thunder Junction cards. Whenever you sacrifice an artifact, you can pay 2 mana. If you do, create a token at the beginning of your next end step, create a token that's a copy of it. And it doesn't specify non-token. So what he ended up doing multiple turns in a row, when he had the mana, he could do it multiple times in a turn, where he would sacrifice the esoteric duplicator to itself because it was also a clue. So he could pay 2, sacrifice it, pay 2 more, get another one on the next end step, and then he'd do it on another turn, and then it'd come back to him, he'd do it again, and so he just slowly started drawing some cards. It got to the point where...
That's kind of cool, though.
It was actually kind of neat. It got to the point
That's a cool little
Sisay
interaction, yeah.
built some board presence up and then attempted to remove opposition agent and Grafdigger's Cage in the same turn. Iron Man at that point had Krark Clan Ironworks to be able to sacrifice an artifact to generate 2 colorless mana, which just meant that if you try to remove one of his pieces, he can sacrifice it to the KCI and then use the mana he generated to create a new token copy of it at the end of the turn. He also had, I don't know what the name of the card is. It was a really cool deck list. He had a card from the new Turtles set that was like pay 5, create a temporary token copy of an artifact you control, and sacrifice it at the end step. He was able to use his mana and the KCI and a bunch of other resources to effectively, like, while this Sisay player was trying to remove the Grafdigger's Cage, he sacrificed it to itself to gain mana and also had put down a token copy of it. So he had one that was going to be around until the end of turn, and then one that would come back at the end of turn. And when he got to his end step, he stacked the triggers so that the one that was going to return, he got a new one from the Esoteric Duplicator, and then the temporary one left. So there was 0 window where we could have done anything. And I was frustrated because I was like, that window where I was hoping I would have was my only chance to push. I had enough resources built up at this point. I felt like I could do several activations and push for something, but I just didn't get that window I wanted. Ended up going around back to Iron Man's turn. He ends up removing my opposition agent, which I had replayed after he had bounced it. And he ended up winning with a combo line of Krark Clan Ironworks, Ugin's Nexus, and the Esoteric Duplicator, where by sacrificing Ugin's Nexus for 2 mana, you pay for the Esoteric Duplicator cost to bring back another copy of Ugin's Nexus at your end step, take an extra turn, and just do that forever and beat us to death with Iron Man.
A pretty crazy one line, actually.
It was actually wild. I was pretty impressed. I asked him like kind of how it worked afterwards, and I put it in my notes that I lost to Iron Man doing KCI, Ugin's Nexus, Esoteric Duplicator. So I'm like, I can remember if I ever go up against that deck, that's a win line. I can remember this.
Keep an eye out for it. Yeah.
Yep.
Wild.
Yeah.
Nathaniel, round 2, how'd it go?
Round 2 was interesting because I was seat 2. Mill the Blessed on seat 1 had
just flat Emil the Blessed?
Yeah.
Wow.
So we're just flickering dudes.
Combo in the command zone. How could it be bad?
Pretty much.
Fair enough.
Seat 3 was Rogsai, and then seat 4, I think it was Rog Ishai. Oh no, it was Timnathras. I think it's Timnathras. But both Emil, myself, and Rogsai all kept starting 7. So first 7 we all kept. Yeah. The Timnathras mulligan down to 6. And then we play, I've got a turn 2 Ristic in my hand. So I'm like sick. I can start drawing cards. Emil's turn 2 play was Aura Shards.
Ooh.
So I'm like, well,
yeah,
no more.
Aura Shards is a really good card.
Yeah, especially in CDH where people are playing a lot of mana rocks and cool enchantments.
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
Pretty good.
So I just decided to throw an Agila out there. The Rogsai player, he smacked the other guy and flipped into an Adnaz.
No way.
What?
Yeah. And so when he...
That's a good hit.
Oh, where's that game 3? Anyways, Rogsai ends up with an Adnaz. He goes, okay, pay 5 life, go up to 8 cards, discard 1, and then move on. And as soon as we get back to Emil's turn, he plays a thing, immediately targets Adnaz. It's clearly the biggest card draw on the field. The guy looks at my deck, and he goes, okay, you only have Nagila. I should be okay. I'm going to pay 21 life into Ad Nauseam.
Oof.
Or
sending it.
Sorry, not Ad Nauseam. Necropotence.
Necro.
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah,
that's what I meant. Necropotence. They do a similar kind of vibe to him. But he had Necro. That's why he was able to pay the 5 and then pay the 21 later. But he goes, and does the 21, and I'm sitting there. I have Gornog in my hand, and so I go, oh, cool. I'm going to go ahead and play Gornog, swing at you, make your tapped Ragavan into a coward, hit you for 11, take you out. I'm not going to give Roxai 21 cards. Yeah. Even if he could.
No, never.
No. It's like we are basically screwed if that happens, so take him out. Move on to the next guy's turn. He's like, looks at it, goes, okay, not much whole I can do. Guy proceeds to pass to Emil. Emil starts playing. He plays a Formidable Speaker. Ghost gets a Vizier with already devoted Druid in play. I don't have a counterspell for that. Other guy doesn't have a counterspell for that, so that resolves. Infinite green mana. Sick. He's able to get white mana to play Emil. And then once he gets Emil out, he's got infinite flickers. And then what he does is he does a Court of Calling 3 for the X. That gets countered by a free counter from the other guy in the game. I don't have anything to do with this. My hand was straight up, I want to play Rhystic Study and hopefully draw more cards. And then I have a pretty good start to my win line with getting warriors out and just getting in for damage.
Right.
So
you have the backup of punch.
I got no interaction in this hand. He's able to deal with that, but then Emil goes ahead and just flickers the speaker, discards his last card, gets a Walking Ballista, and I turn to the guy. I'm like, hey man, if you've got a way to deal with this, I'm cool with a draw, because if you stop this, then I just win.
Yeah, so like I am happy to offer that.
I'm happy to offer a draw right now. Scenario. If you can deal with it. He's like, I can't deal with it. So we died on effectively turn 4 to a infinite mana Walking Ballista combo from Emil the Blessed.
Sometimes it'd be like that.
Like Emil's kind of a crazy commander.
It is.
It's a bird. It's a plane. It's legally distinct red, white, and blue shield guy. Hi, I'm Gilwain, owner of Gilwain's Casting Agency, and boy do we have something special for yous and your kiddos. Next birthday party, of course. We've got all kinds of heroes for you in stock, including Lightning Hammer Man, as well as Robot Super Suit, and my personal favorite, Incredible Green Fella. Call 1-800-ROLL-CALL today and use code CAPTAIN to get 15% off. That's 1-800-ROLL-CALL with code CAPTAIN. Call right now, and we'll even upgrade you from a single entertainer to a team of bundles. You can get 2 of our studs for the price of 1. Now how's that for a deal?
So now we are all, I think I've got 1 loss and 1 draw. You each have 2 losses.
2 losses.
And we move into...
all of my games have gone to time. It's
right.
so fun. Haven't been able to have my baby carrots that I wanted, or my monster
energy. Ready for those carrots. Okay, so going into round 3, I got to be seat 3 this time, so I'm moving up a little bit in the seat order. But I don't think, I was never seat 1. I was only seat 3 or 4 all day long. It was miserable. So, round 3, I kept another hand that was a little slower than I liked. It was a turn 3 time, but I felt like it was pretty good development, so I felt good about it. Ended up getting shut down by the pod was Timnathras, seat 1, another Sisay, seat 2, me on Tyam, seat 3, and then a Rogsai, seat 4. I kept a hand I thought would have been good, but the Timnathrasios player ended up wheeling away their Seedborn Muse to a Rogsai wheel from earlier that the Rogsai player just didn't get anywhere this whole game. They tried, but it was just nothing. So they wheel it away, and they ended up casting an Eldritch Evolution, sacrificing their... I don't remember. It was like a 2 or 3 mana card. Anyway, they sacrifice it and they're like, I don't even know what I'm getting, because normally I would just go get my Seedborn Muse, but it's already gone, so I don't know what to do now.
It's already not here.
So take a wild guess what 4 mana creature this Timnathrasios decided to windmill slam onto the board in front of me.
Is it Drana and Linvala?
It was Drana and Linvala, buddy. For those of you who don't know, turns off all activated abilities of creatures your opponents control, meaning me and Sisay were out. We just had nothing we could do at that point. Just fully turned off because we could not activate our creatures. But I had a secret weapon in my hand. Was Swift Reconfiguration. And that's a good piece for this. Because if I enchant Tyam with Swift Reconfiguration, I know it's not ideally where I want the Swift Reconfiguration to go, but if I put it on Tyam, Tyam's not a creature.
He's
and
now a car.
And I can continue to activate only using abilities of lands or non-creature permanents like Ashnod's Altar and Gaia's Cradle and things like that, right? So I'm like,
doing something.
I have the tool in my hand. I didn't cast it yet. I was like, I have a chance. I can do this. I can break out from under this. And then we get hit with a Windfall. Or no, it was a Time Twister. We got hit with a Time Twister.
Oh.
And I was like, oh no, I lose my graveyard, I lose my Swift Reconfiguration. I was so sad. Draw 7 off the Time Twister, gas, and Swift Reconfiguration. I was like, the prodigal son has returned to me. I get my Swift Reconfiguration chance back. And then the Timna Thrasios player wins on their next turn, so I didn't even get a chance to do it. I tried. That was a game where I definitely, again, I kept a slower time than I wanted. I felt like maybe I would have had a chance, but once that Timna Thras came down, there was nothing I could do about it. It was just fully locking me out of the game. So, Nate, how was your round 3?
Round 3. I'm trying to remember who I was seat 1 round 3. Kept a okay 6 and then played it was an interesting game because I got out stuff to start going for it, and then I think it was Najila that was dealt with, and so I got stopped. And then I'm trying to remember what this one guy was playing. Seat 2, I think he might have been on Thrasio something else, because what he ended up doing. There was Zerda. Zerda was funny because both me and player 2 had kind of iffy hands, and then guy wheels turn 1, and then I end up with Mystic. He ends up with Rhystic. And I've got like 3 counter spells now. He's got like a couple things too. And we start going from there. We did have another weird situation happen. A guy Imperial Sealed right before the wheel was played, but he forgot to put the card on top. And obviously he was on Rockishai. So he was on Rogsai, so he went for Adnaz. He had the lands in his hand to play it, and when we got the judge over, he's like, all right, we have 2 options here. You can either basically say you failed to find with the Imperial Seal and just shuffle that back in, or you can let the person in seat 2 thought seize you and shuffle one of those cards in. So the guy decides, no, I don't want to get thought seized, so I'm going to go ahead and just let the Adnaz go away since I can't even cast it anymore. That's fine. That guy was my main target for Najila though, because he was kind of stumbling from there, and I'm just like, I'm going to get in here and I'm going to start doing things. Yeah, so I got in there, started doing a little bit of damage, getting some few guys, but one guy got Candelabra out, and then he got Growing Rights of Iklamok flipped, and then he got a Moonfolk there. You can pay 4 mana and bounce a land to untap a land, and then he was able to search up Talon Gates. So he was making 6 mana off the Budget Cradle, used 2 of it to play, or to put Talon Gates into play from his hand, or 4 of it, put Talon Gates into play, untaps that, and so he ends up doing an infinite loop of getting mana basically, because he can also tap the Talon Gates for 1 mana before he puts it back in his hand. So going up 1 mana every single iteration. Yep. And then he's got Thrasios in play, so he can just get infinite mana and then proceed to do whatever he wants from there.
Win game.
Yep.
Crazy.
So that happened for my game 3.
My game 3 was playing against other Nate that we brought from Boise, and he was seat 1, playing his Bridget. I don't know.
Bridget.
I think it's Bridget.
The green-white Gaia's Cradle creature from Lorwyn.
Turbo Granny. He was seat 1, and then seat 2 we had Big Atraxa, and then seat 3 was a Rog Ishai, and then me seat 4 and Kinnan. And so I kept a Commandeer hand. So I expected either Atraxa or Rogishai to easily go for Smothering Tithe or Rhystic Study like ASAP. So I was banking on stealing one of those. And so turn 1, Nate plays Lotus Petal, Mox Amber, Vexing Bauble. And I'm like, oh no.
Which
Oh no,
shuts
not
you
a
out.
Bauble. Yep, now I can't commandeer anything. And then plays like a mana dork or something, and then cracks the pedal or something and plays a Deafening Silence. So turn 1 Deafening Silence and Vexing Bauble both on the board. So already rough, but played through it. The Ragishai plays a Smothering Tithe, has billions of treasures, then also plays Heuristic Study. I eventually get a Heuristic of my own. The Atraxa has a Heuristic Study.
And a Tithe, right?
And then also a Tithe as well. So it was basically just hopefully draw a little bit of cards. I tried to put a Mirror Maid on the stack to copy a Smothering Tithe of my own, but they obviously countered it. My hopes in that game was to... basically, we got to the point where the Ragishai player had a whole bunch of mana, a whole bunch of cards, and then tried to Chain of Vapor the Deafening Silence to go for a win. We clearly stopped him, but that just kind of left open for the Atraxa player to just throw down a Voice of Victory and then just hardcast Thassa's Oracle and Demonic. And so we were like, oh, it's all good. Can't do much about that. It was just one of those games you can't expect to get shot out at the beginning of turn 1. Just
it's tough.
Vexing Bauble's a good card. Deafening Silence is a good card. And gotta do what you gotta do.
Yep. Moving into turn 4. Or round 4 here. Nate, what happened with your round 4?
We can both talk about this because we were in the same game.
That's right.
So this game was interesting because one of our players came. Zach, you were saying they came with their parent, right? Or
they were saying that their dad was going to come to the event, and they were like, "Hey, do you want to come too?" And they were like, sure, why not? And so they definitely had a deck that was not quite ready for a CDH tournament. It was more of like a bracket 2, bracket 3, Dimir Fairies kind of deck, which we did get to see Midnight Clock. So shout out.
Let's
Midnight
go!
Clock.
I did not let them miss a trigger on Midnight Clock. That was not happening.
So it was me and Nathaniel, the Alayla Black-Blue Fairy Commander, and then a Ral, Flip Ral. Seat 1. And
this game was the one that I'm like, oh, okay. Now I learned a lot from this game because Ral went for it and he was able to get a kind of fun stack going with Zack. I'll let you talk about that part.
That he did. So basically, I had a Heuristic Study and then he sent it. I had a Mystical Tutor in my hand and he cast some kind of free spell and then held priority to cast a Pact of Negation just to keep the storm count higher and get Ral flips because he was going to flip Ral and just send it and hope for the best as the Ral players do. So I Mystical Tutor for a snapback to bounce Ral before he can flip, but he has one more mana, so he just pays for my heuristic draw, and so he has one Ral flip to decide if Ral stays or not, and he lost the flip, and so he was like, cool, I will just die in my upkeep next turn with my Pact trigger.
Yeah.
So it was just kind of rough for him.
And so what I did in this game was I had a Eladamri's Call, and with the Eladamri's Call, I went ahead and got Chatterfang. Chatterfang is ridiculously good for Najila because he modifies the token events. So when Najila triggers happen, you also get an attacking squirrel. So it makes nut math a whole lot easier. And then also the more important part of this game was you can pay a black and sack some squirrels and throw those squirrels at enemy creatures. So that is exactly what I did to Kennen and
to me.
Yeah. Then the Alayla player deadly rollicked the Chatterfang, and I probably should have yapped a little bit more and be like, "Hey, you probably want to throw that at one of these guys," and just pointing at basically anything on Zack's board because and I would have easily made the deal of I will never throw squirrels at you with Chatterfang. Like easily would have made that deal with him because Zack is the real threat. Like I'm pretty sure I basically would have only swung at them to get the numbers possible so I could kill Zack and then afterwards deal with the
100%.
Person playing a bracket 2 deck in CDH.
But
Yeah, I
did
definitely
not,
won that game because of a couple misplays from or misappropriated spells.
Right. And then also there was a couple times because early game I got out a professional facebreaker and I was consistently getting 2 treasures off of it. And 2 turns in a row, I used Chatterfang to blow up something that I don't think I necessarily needed to. And then the second one was I used it to Flusterstorm a dramatic reversal that Zack was trying to play to deal with my Voice of Victory that I hadn't playing.
I was hoping I don't think it would have worked out if you didn't counter it.
Right. And if I didn't counter it, then I would have had a second white mana, so I could have both Eladamri's Called again because I had already Noxus Revivaled it to the top of my deck, and went ahead and done that. Oh, that's why I misplayed, because I played the Noxus Revival and you still had the Clone Monkey and you were going to steal the Eladamri's Call from me.
Yeah.
So that was the initial misplay of doing the Noxus Revival on my turn when I knew that I could be safe, but you had a flying monkey and I didn't have any flying blockers. I should have just risked it and waited till after you swung with Ragavan and then Noxus Revivaled after that.
That's a fair point. Yeah.
But, yep.
It was a fun game.
Zach got that Hullbreaker.
I did try Hullbreaker Horror combo.
Yep.
To make infinite mana using Valley Flood Caller and Birds of Paradise that I had Imposter Mech.
Yeah. You had your own birds and then the Birds of Paradise of mine that you Imposter Mech.
So I was able to make infinite mana that way. But I was trying to bounce a Mox Diamond and a Chrome Mox because I didn't know if the Mox Diamond ETB trigger was a trigger or if it was just a static thing of if this is played, then discard. If not, it dies. So I did a judge call and it is errata to be basically you play it. If you do not play a land at that time, it will sacrifice itself. There's no way for you to bounce it before.
Yeah, it's such a weird
you could make mana.
wording. Yeah,
because you could just tap it and then bounce it before you have to discard a land, which makes sense. I wanted to make sure before.
It's almost like it would be a pseudo Lotus Petal if it didn't have that restriction on it.
Yeah, it'd be pretty broken, and it's already pretty good. So
yeah,
my
round 4, we had a bit of an interesting situation. And this is going to be a little bit more social commentary on this round because I felt like I had a great round 4. I was
Let me just say, viewers at home, listeners at home, this man came over and you could see the steam coming off of his head.
Yeah,
because it helped set him bold.
Rough game.
It was. I was very mad.
Nice flush red.
Listen, I have played Magic for over 10 years. I know how it feels to lose. I know when I've misplayed. I know when I've done something wrong, and I am a graceful loser, I think, most of the time. I've lost enough, I know how to do it okay. But this ticked me off. I was seat 2. The pod was Rogsai, me, Blue Farm, and then Exhaust Loot. So I was like, okay, well, I kept a hand that was like Gemstone and a land and Enlightened Tutor and a couple other good pieces. I was like, okay, turn 1, I was going to have Gemstone and I was going to be able to play a Dork. And then end step on Rogsai's turn 2, I could Enlightened Tutor for a Deafening Silence. And I did just that. I put the Deafening Silence in play. It stuck.
That's going to make most of the other guys' their plans.
Basically, all of them
harder.
Get locked out under Deafening Silence, and it's stuck for a good portion of the game, too. And as it's sticking, this Blue Farm player's really slowed down, the Rogsai player's not doing much, and the Loot player kept a very risky hand that backfired on them badly. So they were basically a non-consideration, which I feel bad saying this if he listens to this game. Let's be honest, dude, you kept a bad hand. But this is where everything went wrong. Rogsai and Blue Farm were friends previously. Rogsai and Blue Farm drove to the tournament together. Rogsai is I'll say this, Blue Farm was a very dominant personality. And it felt like the whole game, the Rogsai player would do something, and the Blue Farm player would say, no, do it like this instead, and the Rogsai player would listen. Do I think this was malicious collusion? No. What I think it was manipulation of an unequal friend dynamic, and that's more unfortunate in my eyes. I felt like the Rogsai player was having all of their choices second-guessed. they were having all of their targets kind of redirected by the blue farm player without any cards being spent. They were just using words to kind of control where the Rogside player was pointing removal. Very early on in the game, they talked, when I landed that Deafening Silence, blue farm said, we need to get rid of that. And the Rogside's like, yeah, maybe I counter it. And I just straight up told the Rogside player, like, here's where everyone gets stacks pieces wrong. You don't touch the stacks. You only remove the stacks going into your turn or on your turn so that you are the first one who gets that window. Because if you leave that window open for everyone else when we've all been sitting there getting resources too, you're not going to win that game. And the Deafening Silence sits for a couple turns. I'm building. I'm doing well. I feel like I can... I'm about to get to a turn where I really feel like I can push. I end up stepping in a... Oh, what was it? Ranger Captain of Eos. I had a Ranger Captain in play. Going into my turn, I'm like, I'm about ready. I think I'm going to crack the Ranger Captain and push. I think I can do this. And I was in a great spot. Plenty of counters, lots of mana, ready for it. As it's going into my turn, the Rogsai and Blue Farm have been talking this whole time, and they say, and Rogsai, or Blue Farm pushes and say, this is where we need to get rid of it, because you need to get rid of that Deafening Silence so I can help you interact and stop the Tayam from winning. And I kept telling them, don't take out this Deafening Silence, like, until you're ready. And they're like, well... So what ends up happening is they like target my they target Ranger Captain with something. I have to sack it in response. In response to that, they bounce my Deafening Silence off the board, and they bounce Tayam. So I am hosed. Yeah. And I'm like, I have tons of mana. I think, I had Badgermole and Enduring Vitality in play with like 4 other creatures. So I had the mana to just replay it. I had so much mana. I was going to be fine. But it goes to my upkeep, and the Blue Farm player instantly silences me in upkeep. So I'm locked out of the game. And I just look over at the Rogsai player, and I said, you just gave them the game. Like, I was so mad at that point, having watched all of this go down turn after turn, where the Rogsai player was just, bending over to the Blue Farm player's will. It felt bad. It felt like I had to play against one guy who was playing 2 decks. And it was like a 2v1 all game long. And it felt miserable. I get some games are going to feel like that sometimes. My round 1 was a 3v1 at the end, and that was crazy, but it was fun because I felt like everybody was making their own choices. They were all working together, and it ended up in a draw.
That was their best opportunity of getting a draw.
This didn't feel good because it was one guy telling the Rogsai what to do. Of course, goes to Blue Farm's turn. Blue Farm in upkeep. Oh, what does he do? He like casts something. He casts a tutor, and he shows us he has Underworld Breach, and he's like, game? And I'm like, what do you mean game? You have an Underworld Breach in hand. Congrats. What are you gonna do with it? And I'm like, no, thank you. Please play it out. And I'm trying to be very polite, although I am very upset. And he's like, well, I mean, like, you guys can't really do anything right now. And I'm like, please play it out. Because at this point, my out is he misplays. Unfortunately, he did not misplay. He took another about 7 to 8 minutes to assemble a win, which is crazy that it took him that long. Because he had Breach, he had a Wheel, he had a Tutor. He was thinking about the wrong deck. But no, it was so frustrating to me. He ended up winning. And after the game, I came over to that table just steaming mad. That I feel like, genuinely, like, I feel like I unfairly lost that game.
Felt robbed. Yeah, I felt robbed.
I felt robbed because I feel like I would have had a great chance to win. But this guy just manipulated the table. He didn't manipulate the table. Manipulating the table is one thing. He manipulated his friend.
Like,
and that's worse. By an order of magnitude, that is worse.
Because, like, you came over and the other guy in the pod...
the loot player.
Name, but he was a sweetheart. The loot player came over as well and was like, that didn't feel good for me either. Like, I didn't feel good about that.
No, he straight up came over. He's like, that was effed up what they did. If you had called a judge, I would have backed you up. Like, do you still want to go talk to the judge? We ended up doing just that. We did both
recommend you go do, for sure.
Yeah, so me and the loot player ended up going and talking to the judge after the game. And we said, hey man, this is kind of what happened. And we told them, like, we understand there's probably nothing that can be done about this
like after the
fact.
Game
like, you can't just offer a game loss now because you didn't see anything. You can't make a call. But, like, what do I do here? And the judge's answer was basically what Zack and everybody told me, which was, you should have stopped the moment that the Blue Farm players started pushing too hard and said, I want a judge to watch this game because I know these two. Before the game, they mentioned that they were each other's rides. I want these two watched.
Which nothing wrong
and
with
I want
that.
the table talk quashed. Yeah.
No problem with that at all. Like, me and Nathaniel played a game together, and like, perfectly fine. Like, we didn't try to make each other better or like, push the game in anyone's favor. That's not what you do at a tournament.
No.
Yeah.
Like, them being friends has no difference. It's him manipulating his friend to have an advantage in the game.
Yeah. So it made me feel really bad, but I ended up, of course, we lost. I talked with the guy a little bit after. He was really cool with me, the loot player. He was like, yeah, man, that was so lame. What really happened? I'll definitely spread the word about this guy. Let them know that, like, he was super manipulative to his friend and that, like, we really shouldn't trust his deals and stuff. So that was lame. That really felt bad.
If you have any inkling of a feeling of something's off or anything feels weird, call the judge. You can always ask to do a one-on-one away from the pod and be like, hey, could you just keep an eye on our game, like, nonchalantly, or just be there watching it? And if you see or notice anything that feels weird, or like collusion or manipulation, can you just like keep an eye out for it?
Yeah, and that's also one of the things. The things with it is, if you have a question and something feels off, you can just go, judge, raise your hand, wait for them to come over. It's like, hey, can I talk to you for a second? Go aside and it's like, hey, this is what's going on. And then they can be like, oh yeah, let me keep an eye on it, or, you know, that kind of stuff. And then they can, they're there to help. That's their whole job.
Yeah, they're not literally there for you to call them over and get help with. Like, if you need a judge, call a judge every single time.
Yeah, exactly. I think moving forward, that is definitely one of my takeaways from this is twofold, which is, one, if it's my turn, I'm going to tell them to stop the yapping and make a game action.
You do have the legal right to say, hey, stop yapping if you're an active player.
And two, if I feel like there is something sketchy going on, or we're even slightly hesitant about an interaction, I'm going to snap judge call, because I would rather that happen than something else happen, you know?
Right. I was going to go back a little bit to actually Zack and Mike's game, because with our game, we had two different situations where we're like, is this how this works? I don't know.
This is weird. Judge.
Yeah.
Because that they are there to tell you what is the correct way. And you don't have to discuss or spend 10 minutes discussing it. Just tell me what it is.
That's where we got the Mox Diamond knowledge from, was doing a judge call. And so...
And now, for the CEDH Tournament Result Update with Gary Frost.
Hi, I'm Gary Frost. Over the hot June weekend, we have had several CEDH tournaments and exciting news for all CEDH players, as the meta is as diverse as ever. While there are your smattering of ever-present decks like Rog Thras, Blue Farm, and Kinnan, I'd like to highlight some standout decks from this weekend. At Commander Geddon 10, Katie Geifer took home gold piloting... Wait, am I reading that right? They took home gold with a 7-1 record piloting Tyam? Man, those guys at Manabonded are gonna love this one. It got first with 173 players attending the event? Maybe the yams are real. The three other decks at the top table were Niv Mizzet Perron, taking second, Captain Sisse taking third, and Kenning rounding out the pod. The most notable winning list from this past weekend, though, comes from Salt 3. This 89-player event ended with John Galloway literally piloting Flame War, Brash Veteran, to a first-place finish. You can see this winning list in the CEDH Top 16 link provided in the show notes. This has been your CEDH Tournament Report. I'm Gary Frost, reminding you to pay the one. This program has been brought to you by Gly Wayne's Casting Agency, now featuring superhero birthday party entertainers. Use code CAPTAIN to get a 15% discount on your first entertainer. And viewers like you. Thank you.
You know, we had one more round to play, so one more round we did. I went into round 5, once again, seat 3. I kept a hand where I could play Tyam turn 2. I was up against an Atraxa, the 4-color battle, grab a bunch of cards, Atraxa, Rog Thras, then me, and then a Ral deck. Ral didn't do much, which was sad, but I was able to turn 2 Tyam, turn 3, I had a boatload of resources. I ended up having an activation. I flipped into a Tyvar. I used the Tyvar to bring back OBM. I used a bunch more mana through like a tap ability to then finish out my turn after playing a boatload of cards with Archon of Emeria to lock down the table. And I feel a little bit bad about this interaction because my opponent asked what Archon of Emeria did. And I had one of my opponents clarify that what I said was it is a rule of law, so everybody's only allowed to play one spell a turn, and your non-basic lands enter tapped. And I thought I said that, and I had it confirmed by one of my opponents. He did hear me say that, so I was like, okay, cool. But what ended up happening was I pushed really hard on the fact that it was a rule of law, and we were going into a Ral turn. And I was like, I want this in play.
This is a good card for Ral.
Because this guy has Ral, and I never trust a Ral deck. And the Ral deck was trying to, play pacifist and be like, I'm not really going to be able to do much on. I don't have much right now. And I was like, yes,
it's going to get there,
but I don't trust that. And ultimately, my opponent, who was considering the Rogthras player, who was considering countering it, eventually just let it slide. He's like, yeah, okay, I get it. It's really just there for that effect, for the rule of law effect. I'm like, yes. It goes to his turn. After a couple more turns, Ral does nothing. Atraxa doesn't do much. And then it goes to Rogthras's turn. He attempts to... he had previously had his Cradle wheeled away, and then he Noxious Revivaled it back on top, drew it for turn, played it for turn, tapped it, played a thing. And then I was like, oh shoot, sorry, your Cradle entered tapped. And he's like, what? And I was like, yeah, that's the part of this card, non-basics enter tapped. He's like, I didn't know that. And I was like, I'm so sorry. I thought I communicated that these non-basics enter tapped. He's like, I would have countered it if I knew it was going to stop my Gaia's Cradle turn. And I was like, I don't know what to tell you. I'm very certain I told you this. And that was in the middle of this discussion that the player on Ral was like, yes, I heard him say that non-basics enter tap. So I'm like, okay, so I don't feel as bad, but I still feel bad that there's a bit of this miscommunication.
Yeah. They're not trying to be deceitful with what.
I don't want to be mean. I don't want to lie. And so it goes through this Rogthras player's turn. They had a Minamo in play, so they were still able to untap the Cradle, use it for one activation that turn. But that was it. He was like, I could have gotten another activation or two if it was untapped. Goes to my turn, and I have a bunch of random pieces on board. I have half of the Sylvan Safekeeper Gaia's Cradle loop that I can do. I just don't have a way to turn that mana into counters necessarily. And then I have Orcish Bowmasters and an Ashnod's Altar, but I don't necessarily have a way to make the mana to turn those into the correct mana I need for the activations. So I realize, if I just do the Safekeeper loop with my 9 creatures in play, it leaves me with enough mana left over to then do the Orcish Bowmasters loop again, which I can then do the Cradle loop, and then the Bowmaster loop, and the Cradle loop. And so I alternated the loops and just combined them into one really big complicated loop to Orcish Bowmasters down the table. And
with our powers combined.
And with the powers combined, I won a game. And that was what I wanted to do.
That was the number one goal. Number one goal was to win one game.
Yeah, I was very proud of myself for that. I did win it. I still felt a little bad about the miscommunication, but I won, and I was able to walk away from that round 5 feeling pretty good. Yeah. That would have been a judge call, I think, where we could have been like, hey, judge, what do we do here? The Ral probably would have backed me up and said, I heard him say that, and the judge would have just been like, that's on you then.
That's probably why there was no judge call.
The one that says the last thing.
Yeah, because, if somebody else is like, oh, yeah, no, you definitely said that, I would back off too, unless it was like the one round earlier where you had the people colluding, because then they might just back up the other person just because they're friends. Yeah, so that was my great round 5. How about you guys?
Round 5 for me, we had a 3-player Kinnan pod and then a Rogthras. So that was a fun time. We were all having a good time talking about Kinnans and saying how we're dirty Kinnan players and, the usual fun banter. But one of the, I was in a pretty good spot, a decent spot at least. And then one of the Kinnan in 3rd seat or something like that had tutored up the Basalt Monolith and had an Agatha Soul Cauldron, which does make infinite colored mana for Kinnan activations. And so the Rogthras player had played a Fairy Mastermind The other two Kinnons were on more of a flip Kinnon list compared to like my no bad cards.
Big flip
list
versus
of wanting to draw cards.
Yeah.
So their whole plan was make a bunch of mana, flip Kinnon. The Kinnon player across from me had flipped twice and whiffed both times, so that was very unfortunate.
That feels so bad.
Overall, and then yeah, especially when your deck's built to do that. It's very bad. I'm so sorry, man. The heart of the cards are just not there.
Yeah, that's tough.
But so eventually, so the Rock Thrust player had a counter spell, and he had to hold it for the Basalt Monolith because that's just the win. Little did he know that I had 3 mana available and a Force of Negation in my hand that I was going to hard cast if needed, but I'm not going to reveal that because I knew the other guy had a counterspell and he was before me in priority. So, and so I top deck a Consecrated Sphinx, and so I just send it. So I play the Consecrated Sphinx, and obviously there's discussion. I'm like, yes, this is scary. Like you should counter this, but he has a Basalt Monolith and win on board. So if you do counter this, it's like, this is not winning me the game right now. That will win the game right now. Which realistically is probably the best thinking. Like, I never try to like make people feel bad for making a decision, but like from his perspective, at least from my point of view, I'm like, this is probably your best bet. And so with the Consecrated Sphinx, I'm drawing 2 cards on everyone's draw steps, and then he had a Fairy Mastermind, so every time I drew 2 cards, he would draw a card, and that's not a May ability, so I would draw 2 more cards. So I get 4 cards every turn, which was
crazy,
very nice.
Dude.
Just
going crazy.
I just eventually was able to pull it out with immense value of drawing 12 cards a turn rotation.
Oh my gosh.
But it was a lot of fun. And then we did a little bit of interviews with one of the guys that we played with. So it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It was a really good game.
Yeah, it was great. And then, Nate, how was yours?
For me, I was seat 3. Played against, I think it was a Rog Ishai, a Rog Sai, and then don't remember the third deck, but it was Vivi. Vivi was the third deck, and it ended up being a thing where the Rog Sai ended up pushing for a win. Vivi wasn't doing a whole lot. Had started drawing a few cards. Player 1 started drawing a few cards, and then Rog Sai was pushing for a win, and it got in this pretty epic stack battle. And seat 1 and seat 3 were just kind of talking to each other, like, "Can you deal with this? Can you deal with this?" Nobody was looking at me. I had a archive trap in my hand, and they're just sitting there like, "I'll deal with this part. Can you help?" "Okay, cool." And so they're dealing with this whole stack. Meanwhile, I'm sitting on this archive trap like the whole time. And when the stack is finally done, I'm about to do archive trap, and the guy in front of me is like, "Hey man, I'm also like about to try and win, and I have like 40 cards in hand. You should probably just offer a draw." And I was like, "Okay, etiquette wise, I'll offer a draw." And then everybody's like, "Yeah, it's a draw, it's fine."
Yeah.
Well, that's nice. And everybody was like chill about it.
Yep. Because if we'd stopped this guy, the other guy was going to win before my turn, and I was just sitting on a bunch of tutors that game, so I was eventually going to get there, but other people were going to get there a whole lot faster than I was.
First,
yeah. And so that was it for us. After those games, we were out of it. We did not make the cuts for top 16, but that didn't mean we were ready to go home.
We were close.
Because...
Well, that didn't mean we could go home.
We could have gone home, except our buddy Garrett made top 16 with Winota. And we're so excited. Still, shout out Garrett. You did super great with Winota. Goes into his top 16 game. And while we're doing that, Zack was doing some cool stuff. Zack, you want to talk about the cool stuff you did during the top 16 round?
So once we found out we were making top 16, there was a chance for me. If I had more draws in previous rounds, I had 2 wins. So
one less loss, one more draw, you might have made it.
It is what it is. But so finally had time to do a little bit of content creation of like doing little player interviews. Big shout out to Ryan from MTG Unraveled. Her question is absolutely fantastic and such a fun one to get answers from.
We're not going to spoil it here. You're just going to have to watch the videos when they come out because they're fantastic.
Thank you so much for everyone who let us interview and not having a good time and letting us hang out with you and talk to you. And then the store had a Neon Ink Katara from the Avatar set in their display case. And so I'm like, today's the day. Maybe we collect that for my partner's collection, because she is trying to collect all of the Avatar cards. And so we spent quite a bit of time going through cards and trying to get enough store trade-in credit to get it. And we did eventually get there, as well as a couple other cards that other people were wanting.
Did.
So we did collect the first Infinity Stone of the 5 required for the Neon Inks and Avatar Aang cards. So we did get the Katara. So that was really cool and awesome.
Yeah, that was super sweet. And then Nate and I went on a short adventure to go grab some drinks for everyone, just like Gatorades and stuff to rehydrate. Had a good Brando Sando talk on the way there.
Yep.
Anyway, and then we noticed that Garrett's table, somebody is standing up, and another player's rolling up their playmat. And we're like, oh, their round's done.
Like, it's over.
And so I open up the Top Deck app instead of running across the store, and I look at the results. And Garrett's name is highlighted. And I'm like, guys, I think Garrett won. And so I run over to the table and I go to Garrett and I'm like, Garrett, is this true? And he's like, yep, I won. And I was like, yeah, let's go, Garrett. I guess what had happened in the game
across the store, we're all jumping at like little.
Yeah, we were hype squad
jumping
for Garrett.
beans or something.
We're
all like
so
hyping
excited.
Him up. We're like, Garrett, top
I guess
four,
he got an early Draneth Magistrate either off of a flip or just cast. And it locked out the Iron Man player who had made it all the way to top 16 and was keeping him down. And so he was able to just build up a ton of value, and nobody else could fight him, and just took his top 16 game. And so we're like, holy cow, Garrett's going to top 4. And so we're all just chanting top 4 at him as he gets ready to shuffle up. We go to sit down. We're just chilling. We're like, hey, why don't we pull out a board game? The store's got board games. Let's go play one while we wait for Garrett to finish up his top 4 round. So we go and we pull out Betrayal at House at the Hill, because Betrayal at House on the Hill is a fantastic board game. And we're playing it. We get a couple turns in. We get to the haunt. And then we're watching the live stream of the top 4 game. And people start standing up. And 20 minutes in to this top 4 game. And we're like, wait, what happened? We're looking at the stream, and all we can see is the deck. That one player has a boatload of cards on the board, and everyone else barely has anything. The player who's winning, all that the top banner shows for their deck list and the name of their commander is Rakdos Bike. And we're all confused. We're like, what is Rakdos Bike? We have never heard of this. We go looking. It's Flame War Brash Veteran from the Transformers cards. It's a black-red commander.
Grand Finals right now.
Yeah, it's a black-red commander that, its whole kit is you can discard cards to put counters on it, and then when it deals damage to a player, you can put all the cards, when it deals damage to a player, you exile a bunch of cards, and then on the flip side, if it hits, you get all the cards. Something like that. Let me look it up, guys. Nobody knows what this card did. That was the whole point.
I did, but I didn't expect it to show up in CDH.
That's what it
not
is.
Where I expected to see it played.
It's a 1, a black, and a red for a 3/2. Has more than meets the eye, so you can play the backside instead for just a black and a red. Sacrifice another artifact, put a 1/1 counter on Flame War, and convert it only as a sorcery. Then pay 1, discard your hand, put all exiled cards you own with intel counters on them into your hand. What are intel counters, you ask? Great question. On the backside, Flame War Streetwise Operative, a living metal vehicle. 2/1 Menace Death Touch. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, exile that many cards from the top of your library face down, put an intel counter on each of them, convert Flame War. So you sack artifacts to make it a little bigger, and then it flips over. And then you hit players, and it steals cards for you. And then when it's on its non-vehicle side, you can pay 1, drop your hand to get the whole second hand into your available to you. So I suppose what ended up happening was this Flame War got a turn 1 defense grid, and then turn 2 grabbed a bunch of cards, grabbed an extra turn spell, naturally had a Aetherflux Reservoir and a Bolas of Citadel got put into play somehow, and then they had top, and they just did that loop to win the game. On their turn 3, which they were seat 1. So nobody had a chance to build anything before this random black-red deck just came out of nowhere.
It was cool to see, but yeah.
It was really cool to see.
Quick.
I think it was awesome. But yeah, it was so quick. But we're still super proud of Garrett making top 4, by the way, twice in a year, because he was top 4 in a earlier tournament this year. Top 4 in 2 tournaments this year is incredible.
Very proud of him. Great work. It is notable to say that they did agree to do split the prize pool before the game. So like nobody was really like quotation marks the winner. Like all of them were winners.
Yeah.
So
it was like they sat at each other, said, "Hey, can we agree to a draw and split the prize pool?" They said yes, and then they played for fun, basically.
Well, there was a stream, and so the Mind Over Meta guys over there were recording games, and the finals they were streaming and recording it. So.
Which the Mind Over Meta guys were awesome. I had a great conversation during the top 16 match with Chris from Mind Over Meta about some tips to streamline my editing process and improve some things over here. So shout out to the Mind Over Meta guys and shout out to Chris. Thank you so much. I am going to install DaVinci Resolve as soon as I install the new hard drive I got as well. So that was the other.
Yeah,
that was a great pickup from this weekend. Nate was gifted a 8 terabyte physical hard drive. It's an HDD, no SD. But
what's the Spider-Man meme of like the power of the sun in my hand? Is like
exactly
so much storage.
We were running into some storage issues earlier with the podcast recordings, but this should help immensely, at least until the point where y'all want to give me enough money to build a NAS. So it was really great. Thank you so much, Chris. We really appreciate it. But yeah, that's the tournament. That's the game, folks.
That's it.
It was a great time,
all, folks.
Awesome people. Fantastic
absolutely
environment.
Fantastic.
Store was great.
Yeah.
Everybody was so nice. It was just fun to be able to talk to people. There was people from Rexburg that came down. There were people from Boise that came down.
Riftgate, really the store was fantastic. The organizers, the Salt City crew were fantastic. Mind Over Meta were fantastic. It was just a wonderful environment. Oh, the artist. Yeah, there was an artist. Oh, crap. What was his name? I want to shout him out.
I don't remember his name.
Didn't have much time talking to him.
I talked to him a couple times.
Some cool stuff. Some really cool stuff. And he did like altars for people during the event. Like you could like order altars from him. So that was really sweet.
It was like Grambulon. Was that it?
Let me see. I actually have the tokens in my bag. I should have his name on the back.
I know, my stuff's downstairs.
It should.
Yes, Grambulon. I found it. I will absolutely put his Etsy and stuff in the Discord.
Yeah.
Or in the show notes.
Yeah, he did a bunch of like classic tokens for CDH, but that's not the thing I cared about. He had fun fan arts for all of the Straw Hats from One Piece, and so I was like, well, I'm going to get me some cool tokens. Yep. I'm going to entire Straw Hat crew.
Yep, I picked up a Orc Army and a Eldrazi Spawn token for my Orcish Bowmaster and the other card that does Eldrazi. So I needed those. So I was like, yes, thank you so much. That was the weekend. I don't know. Well, to end the podcast, I think, for our end step here, I think we'll just talk about kind of what's our biggest takeaway from the weekend, and what is something that you'd like to do for the next tournament we go to, which for some of you may be in a couple weeks, for others may be in a few months.
For me, it is probably playing a different deck. The meta is just too gummy. Well, she'll probably go back on the shelf like she was before. It's just a thing where there's just gets so many creatures on the ground, and it's so hard to get through. She really shines when there is a low creature meta, and we're in a pretty high creature meta at the moment.
Yeah, that is.
I can understand that. Zach, what's your takeaway?
Rhystic Study is a good card.
Yeah,
like oh my lord,
you were tempted by playing Rog Eshai. How are you feeling about moving to that list for a bit?
I did see quite a bit of Rog Eshais, and I was able to kind of see the decks. Like they look exactly like what I enjoy doing, but I just love Kinnan so much that anytime I like come that, right? And I have an opportunity to play Magic, I'm like, I just want to play Kinnan because I have so much fun playing Kinnan, and it's just such a fun deck to play. So I don't know if I'll commit to playing it. Maybe like Tabletop Sim or so, but the deck is so cool, and it's nice to see a Jeskai deck coming in kind of out of the blue and taking over a little bit of like, this is a good deck. Like, we have viable options of Jeskai commanders that aren't just like Elena or the monk lady.
Yeah.
So it's cool to see that, and
cool.
It's always nice to have Ishai as a backup and just punch people in the face.
Yeah,
it is always great. I think I am on the fence about whether or not I am going to continue pushing Tyam in tournaments.
Whoa.
Yes.
Did you just say those words?
I am very... I love Tyam so much, guys. You don't understand how much it breaks my heart to be even considering this.
I understand.
But it's tough because I always felt like the turns I could play Tyam turn 2 and have an activation turn 3, I felt like I was in it. You know, I felt like it's in the game. But the turns where I couldn't get Tyam on 3 or 2 and had to wait till turn 3, it was so much harder for me. I also felt like my list pushed too much for a fast activation and not enough for quicker, like more reactive or proactive pieces. Games where I had stacks pieces, Rule of Law effects did great. Games where I didn't felt awful. I felt like I wanted more ways to interact with the pod. And so I am considering, I added a bunch of cards to my maybe board for Tyam. So maybe we'll talk about that at some point. I added a bunch of cards I want to consider, maybe shifting to a different version and shifting my playstyle for Tyam a little bit more. But yeah, if I do switch and I do leave Tyam for a tournament to try something else, the deck I will be doing, and I've already picked this and you can't change my mind, I would like to try Ral. I was very impressed with Ral. It looked really cool. I want to really see what I can do with Storm. I'm a big Storm guy. I want to see what I can do. So if
Nathaniel,
I switch...
we're losing a friend to the darkness. We can't let him go. We have to help
I've been there the whole time. I just kept a good face. Hey guys, we totally forgot about something. I just remembered it. Hey Tristan, I think it's time we open your email.
Oh yes,
yeah.
We need to do our predictions.
Yeah, we'll need to do that real quick, but I'm going to need to put a pause on this for just a second so I can use the bathroom. So,
I'm totally down.
Yeah.
I'm going to use it too. I'll be right back. Bathroom break. Go, go, go. All right, now we're back to it. So, right before our tournament, Tristan, our ad writer, wrote us an email with predictions. The email is titled Salt 3 Predictions, and he says, I have predictions, don't read until day of recording. I have predictions, don't read until day of recording. I have predictions, don't read until day of recording. I think to block us from reading anything in the first line in the email. So,
all right.
I am now officially opening this for the first time. Here we go.
That's a lot of lines.
Wait. I'm predicting that there's a prediction that I'm going to say something
Prediction number 1. Josh will play probably. Josh will play into a pod that is Tyam and 3 of the same deck, like seat 1, Rogsai, seat 2, Rogsai, seat 3, Rogsai, seat 4, Josh. Parentheses, Josh loses this game. I am so glad that didn't happen, Tristan. It never did. I'm sorry. Nope. All of my pods were varied enough. I never even had a pod where I had 2 of the same commander. Which, by the way, I think is a very, very good, healthy point of the format. Is there was very few pods where it felt like you had the same, 2 of the same commander or more. Right?
I had a Kinnan pod, so it happened for me. I love that Josh will lose this.
That's really fun. Prediction number 2: Nathaniel lucks into a win with Najila.
You almost did multiple times.
Unfortunately, not.
Close. You were close.
Almost. I was close.
Realistically, you should have won.
I was very close. More than half my games, but then you wouldn't have got the really fun Kennen triple game.
That's true. But you did get. You unlucked into a almost win. Unlocked into a
I did.
Yeah. Prediction number 3. Zack top 16s with Kinnan. Nope, you picked the wrong guy.
Close. 23. I got 23.
You got close.
I had a couple of draws.
Yeah, you got 23. It was Garrett who ended up winning.
I appreciate the confidence.
All right, you guys want to read some of these?
Tristan.
Yeah.
Okay, prediction for two of the guys end up in a pod together where both of them lose. Well,
close,
that was close. That was two of us in a pod together, but one of us should have won the game, and the other one did win the game. So yeah, that one did not quite come true. Prediction 5. In total, there are 5 draws between the sharks.
5 draws.
I had 1.
I had 1.
0. I tried so hard to get draws.
And I think Garrett had 1,
Hold
I
on.
think.
Yeah, but he was saying between the sharks.
Yeah, so even if you
Garrett and Nate
extend
don't
it
really
to
count.
the 5 of us, we didn't hit that mark, sorry. I'm taking prediction number 6 because this says Josh goes 1, 2, and 1. So Tristan, I'm going to give this one to you because there was 5 rounds, not 4.
2-1.
And I was 1, 3, and 1 overall.
Yeah.
So
real close.
I'll give it to you. That was really good.
Number 7 here, we got Nate buys packs and opens a $50+ card. So we did do some pack buying. Nathaniel bought a couple packs. I don't think they were magic.
There was some pack buying
necessarily.
I don't think Nate bought a single magic pack.
Also bought a lot of Gundam packs, but I don't think magic packs were something we opened.
I did not buy a single magic pack at Riftgate. I bought some My Little Pony collector packs so that way I can use them with the My Little Pony
and
deck.
More tokens.
Because and more tokens. Cool fun fact, cards are toys. So specifically for Applejack, when she talks about at the end of your turn using a toy to make a token that is a 2/2, and it gets stuff based on what's in the art, you can use tokens that are just My Little Pony cards, and they have the name that they are. So if you're going for the Every Pony Wins, you can play an Applejack collectible card. Or not Applejack, she's already going to be there. But you could play a Pinkie Pie collectible card, a Rarity collectible card, and then you could just go from there and get those as part of the 6 to win.
Yeah.
And then I also bought some Riftbound. Let me take a quick look through here, but I don't think I got anything cool in there either. We did open some cool stuff.
Katara count as a 50
the draft kit had some good polls. The draft kit had good polls, but nothing above $50, so I think that's a fail. Prediction number 8, Zack loses game 1 of Top Cut. Well, he never made it to Top Cut. Yeah.
But I probably would have. Prediction number 9, Zack will accidentally talk himself into a loss by pointing out someone else's win line. Realistically, probably would do that, actually. I don't think it happened today at this time, but it is something I could see myself doing very easily. Being like, oh, why didn't you just do this?
Yep.
Oh, I could just do that.
I do have a funny thing, though, with our joke about not opening the mystical archive, or not the mystical archive, the wint bag, the codex bundle. In there, I did get a special guest foil Sylvan Library, but that is not quite $50.
How much is it?
That is only $35.
Close.
And then the final prediction from Tristan, the Sharks have a good time.
Did you guys have a good time?
Yeah.
I had a great time.
It was a blast.
All right,
a good
Tristan.
weekend.
2 out of 10. You got 2 out of 10.
And honestly, pretty close on quite a few of them. These are good predictions.
Yeah, you were very close on a lot of them. I'm gonna reply to his email right now and just say 2 out of 10, and then he can
perfect 5 out of 7.
Which 2?
Perfect 5 out of 7.
He can understand which 2 when he listens to the podcast. Well, that's going to do it for us this week. Thank you guys all for listening. I'm sorry this is going to be a longer episode, so I'm sorry for the rambling. But we had a ton of fun, so we're going to spend we spent a lot of time just rambling about how much fun we had and reminiscing. It was an awesome time. We've got more CEDH tournaments in our future together, I think, whether they're this year or next year. We're absolutely going to keep doing this. So thank you so much for
Maybe we'll go take
us.
a trip to New York or New Jersey.
Ooh.
If we have money for that, I'm absolutely down.
That would be fun.
I'm down with doing that.
So
Tristan's great.
Thank you guys so much for listening. If you have questions you want to ask us that you want our help with for a future episode,
or questions we can ask you,
then please send them over to us at manabonded@gmail.com. We'll take any and all question submissions there. We'll also take them through places like our social media channels, or if you're in our Discord, go ahead and add us or DM us or something to let us know you've got a question for us.
Yeah.
The drums of liberation have nothing compared to the music made by Steve Brown. SteveBrownSongs.com are the place to find it.
Yeah, and you guys actually got to listen to a couple of his songs.
We did.
Yeah, we did.
That
Yeah,
was
we did.
that was part of the music going to the
tournament. Yeah.
If you love some cool art and like the art that we have for our banners and stuff on basically everywhere, that art was done by Shadow Aclepex. You can find his link to his stuff in the show notes down below.
Also, shout out to Nathaniel for buying us sleeves with our
Yeah,
logo.
yeah.
Oh my
on it,
gosh,
and
I
we
can't
all had
believe we didn't
matching
talk about
sleeves.
that. Yeah,
at the
we had
tournament.
matching
That's true.
Manabonded sleeves for this weekend.
Yeah, I thought it was a great plan to have a conversation starter and just kind of a thing to talk about when we're doing stuff. I did have one of my games, people like, what are those? What's Manabonded? And I'm like, oh, it's podcasts I do with my buddies. You can check us out on
nice
a
little segue.
basic anything.
We do have a link tree, so if you're looking for more of our social media channels and where to find all those great, amazing videos that we're going to be posting across them soon, go ahead and check us out there. We are on YouTube, we are on Twitter, we are on Instagram, we are on BlueSky. I think we're working on TikTok. I think some things are going up there.
Yeah, we're going to try and get those short form interview style things on there, on Instagram, on YouTube Shorts. So we're going to try and put those across the short form content stuff.
Yep. So yeah, go ahead. If you like what you're listening to, leave us a review on the app you're listening to, and a few more you're not. Like, comment, subscribe if you're on YouTube, and give us a follow everywhere else. We want to thank you all so much for listening, and thank you all so much for sticking around. We will see you next week.
Bye-bye. Bye, guys.
Pee break. It's a break for the pee. Our hosts need to pee. Don't be afraid. It's just a little break. We'll be back with your regularly scheduled programs here in a little bit. Just don't worry. They're just relieving their bladders and they're getting ready to go. Yeah, we're back almost.
I'm back.
What?
Zach, how long have you been singing?
I was just waiting for you
How
guys.
long have
Yeah,
you
I was just waiting for you guys. I was making a little,
Thanks for the blue break, guys.
little jam over here.
Hey, look, the break between the ads. That Gilwain voice fucks up my throat every time I do it. I feel like I have to drink an entire thing of water every time I'm recording an ad with that voice, but I love doing it so much.